Hello, this is Miss Banks again, and this is another video for On Level Math 8, titled Conversions Part 2. Now, as we mentioned for the videos, please stop, rewind, and rewatch until you are confident with conversions of positive and negative rational numbers. Now, let's get started. In class, you received this worksheet entitled, Do You Know Your Basics?, where you're basically filling out a gigantic graph of conversions. You're converting from fraction to decimal to percent, or you can go backwards, whichever way you feel comfortable. We've looked at each one in detail. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to do the first one. The first one is 5/10, which is a benchmark fraction and must be memorized by the end of the school year. Now, to convert this, the work would be shown as, I'm going to go from a decimal to a percent because I've memorized that, and I know for 5/10, all I have to do is move the decimal place 2 times to the right. There's 2 little dips, and I have to have a number in each dip. There's no number here, so we use the universal placeholder of 0. So this becomes 50. There's my decimal, and I add my percent. And as I mentioned before in the last video, when the decimal falls at the end of the number, we don't necessarily write it there. It's just understood that that's where it is. And so 50% would be able to be placed right there. And I've shown my work below. Now, I have memorized what fraction 5/10 is, but I can show my work. 5/10 means that for my denominator, I would have a 10. The number only, which is 5, is what I'll use on top. And then I just simplify or reduce. And this looks like it could be divided by 5 on the numerator and denominator, and that will reduce to 1/2. So my fraction is 1/2. We've gone over this over and over, guys. That was just to kind of recap what we looked at in class yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss with you negative fractions, decimals, and percents. This is the first time that we've looked at this. It's in the 8th grade, so this is something new for this class. Now, I'm just going to break this down. A fraction is simply a division problem. Okay, it's simply a division problem. Every time in my class you have a negative fraction, the negative is going to belong to the numerator only. So this can be rewritten as -1 divided by 4. And if you remember the algorithms, another word for algorithm is rules of math. And the algorithm that I'm referring to is a negative divided by a positive is a negative. So this began as a negative fraction, and because of this rule or algorithm, I know that when I convert it by doing TIBO to convert to a decimal, top in the house, there's my decimal that I bring straight up, bottom out. 4 will not divide into -1, so we need to add a 0. 4 will divide into -10 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8. We're going to just take the number only, and we're going to say 10 minus 8 is 2. 4 will not divide into 2, so what do we need to do? Yes, bring another 0 down. 4 will divide into 20 5 times. 4 times 5 is 20. We subtract that and it leaves a remainder of 0. So we have converted this into a decimal. However, we have to bring this negative symbol up. So the conversion from a fraction to a decimal would be negative 25 hundredths. I messed that up, but that's okay. I'm going back over here to my graph, my chart, so that I can fill that in. So now I know that this is negative 25 hundredths. And if you've memorized your benchmark fractions, you can go straight over to a percent. Once I move this decimal over 2 times, this will be 25%, and it also remains negative. So the big picture here is doing conversions. If it begins as a negative, it will remain a negative throughout the forms of the number, whether it's a fraction, decimal, or percent. If you have any questions, please do email me, but I do expect for you to finish the rest of this chart on your own. And when we get together again, we'll be going over more details about comparing fractions, decimals, and percents. Thank you so much.